Well, hello again. Here we are for a little longer clip with Michael and Paula's adventures. Our latest trip was to Algonquin Park, where we accessed the park through a small town known as Whitney. And it is called the number 13 access point into Algonquin Park. And it's a very nice little boat launch that you come into right out of the town. And for this particular trip, we paddled all the way into and past Farm Bay Lake, all the way into Galeairy Lake, and we decided to camp right here, a great little spot facing north. It was one of those special spots that had a lot of privacy, and we set up a base camp. And from this base camp, we did a day trip all the way into Night Lake, small little 80-meter portage into Night Lake, and then just over a mile portage from Night Lake into Penn Lake. Had a nice lunch at this location, and after lunch we paddled to Rock Lake, and from Penn there's a small 375-meter portage into Rock Lake, and then we paddled around the shoreline at Rock Lake all the way towards Echo Bay, and then a final portage of 100 meters back into Galeairy Lake, and we paddled back home. So for this particular clip, some friends and family members had asked what is the type of gear that we use out in the backcountry for a base camp versus a continuous portage trip where you're setting up camp every day and tearing it down and going to the next lake. So enjoy the film footage and the photographs as it will explain what we use. And this year, out in the wilderness, and in this place, Algonquin Park, the flies have been really good. There have been none, so to speak, but the Eureka Bug Zone tent is very helpful for also the rain. So we're expecting rain here this evening, and we'll just sit in here, and if we have to, we'll even cook inside the tent and enjoy our evening even though it's raining. And for a base camp setting, we're here for 4 nights, 5 days. We usually pack in with a bare barrel. And a little good tip to do is a cotter pin on the actual latch. And with a cotter pin, it makes it that much more tougher, more challenging for the bear to pull back the latch. And believe it or not, that's exactly what they do because they know how to do it. As well, always have bear spray very close at hand just in case, and a good quality knife for utility usage, let alone some safety too if you do run into a pinch. And then last but not least, a good pair of gloves for cutting wood and so forth. And again, when you have a base camp, you can pack in much heavier, and we bring in the Jetboil Eureka stove, a couple pots and pans, and really do it well with quality meals. And we really take our time. We just relax and enjoy the time period. And as we all know, on this particular trip, we have planned a couple of day trips with some portages, some great views, waterfalls. Again, eye candy. The scenery is amazing. Last but not least, bring in good dishware like the GSI Outdoors cups. They work extremely well, and they don't burn your hands when you're drinking a cup of coffee or a cup of tea. Other than that, we also have, for the day trips, Jetboil mini stoves, so we pack in light for those trips and we don't get caught through the portages carrying too much over and above the fact that we don't have to. So a couple of things here if interested. And no matter if it's a heavy trip with a base camp where we're bringing a lot of gear in, or it's just an overnighter, I usually bring a small axe and a mini handsaw, so to speak, buck saw, and it works extremely well. We have rain scheduled to come in the next couple hours, so all our wood here for this evening is under a tarp and ready to go after the rain subsides, and we can have a great fire here this evening in this wonderful Algonquin setting on Lake Galeairy. I always pronounce that incorrectly, but that's where we are today, on a nice wonderful point. Great view looking the north, where the west is behind me and the east is in front of me. And this is how the mini hacksaw packs into a nice little cylinder. So very compact, very easy to put into your portage bags. Works extremely well, very durable, and very light, so to speak. So something very good to have on your trips. And many ask, what do we do for drinking water in 5 days? Well, when we have a base camp, we bring out the Catadine BaseCamp water system. You get water from the middle of the lake. It has a filter system at the bottom, and you pour it into your kettle. You boil your water and you're good to go. So make a long story short, it's something that works extremely well, and as you can see, it's all gravity fed, and you put the water into your kettle and then you boil it on your stove and so forth. So a very good system, very simple and easy to use. Yeah, so when we know there's going to be heavy rain, we bring out the MSR tarp and put it over our tent. And if it's raining while we are tearing down, it allows the tent to stay dry, and you pack everything dry, let alone your clothes. So we usually put this up when we know there's going to be heavy rain, and we've been in this when there was a deluge, and it was perfect. It held its own, and it's a very great piece of equipment to keep you extremely dry, let alone your tent equipment and everything within it. And usually when we set up our tent and we go to sleep at night, we take the canoe, which is a Swift Algonquin 16-foot carbon fusion. Great boat, very light, makes it easy to portage, but a great tandem canoe for packing into the backcountry. And our tent is a K2 Eureka. It's a 4-season tent. Some people say 4-season tents are too warm, but as you'll see in a moment, the venting system in this tent is par none. So out of all the tents we've had, this is the go-to. We've enjoyed this the most as a couple. my better 3/4 and I. It has a little extra room, and I'll explain that in a second. Yeah, so as you can see, the K2 Eureka tent, it's 4 seasons, and very, very, very useful. It's a little heavier because it's a 4-season tent, but as you can see, it's got venting solutions that are just excellent in many, many places, let alone the top. And you can use this tent, as a result of it being a 4-season tent, into the November time period. I wouldn't suggest it in December. We have a tent teepee for that with a titanium wood stove, and we use those in the winter months. But this will get you right up to November very comfortably, and tons of pockets for all of your gear. So as you can see, a lot of room, and the design with the extra sides allows you to place your gear, your extra clothing, etc. So extremely comfortable, and we don't rough it. When we have a base camp, we bring in the Thermarest top quality mattresses, and we have chosen for these trips the Kazoo or Blue Kazoo North Face. It works extremely well, rated at a minus 15 or minus 10 degrees Celsius, which is 15 degrees Fahrenheit. So very, very, very cozy, and it's one of those things where you want to sleep in, and if it does get a little bit rainy and you just want to read and kick back, this is very, very comfortable. And finally, as you can see, a great vestibule, so to speak, and allows you to put your shoes or your boots on while you're getting out of the tent, even in rain conditions, with the flap in its down and secured position. And as you can see, we always bring a heavy-duty tarp, again in a base camp setting where you're not portaging every day. We pack in a little heavier, and as such enjoy the comforts that come with the option of having a base camp for more than 3 to 4 days. It's a great way to go, and again, it's all about comfort at this point. On the shorter trips where you do portage, we go in much lighter and obviously have different gear for that option. And as always in Algonquin Park, the washroom facilities are always notified by a unisex sign, male and female. Thank you that in some parts of the world people are still recognized as male and female. It's rustic out here, so you have to get used to some of the more finer amenities, and one of them is called the Thunderbots. Very simple contraption, opens up, and that's it. Well, here is the nightly routine before going to bed. You take your bear barrel and you get it up in a tree away from your camp so that you do not attract any unnecessary or unwanted visitors at night, namely black bears. So this system is pretty cool. We have a pulley system at the top with a little bit of a mountain climbing reel or pulley system. So it's 2 ropes, one to put the hook up at the top with the pulley, and then an additional rope that goes around the bear barrel, and then you pull it up and then secure it accordingly. Well, we made it. No bears ate us. Another successful night here in Algonquin Park. And this is the pack out process. So as you can see, we have everything in the Sea to Summit bags. And now we're going to put them in the Eureka bags, the waterproof bags that if you do flip your canoe, everything stays dry and clean. And it's part of the process. So it's sort of sad. We got to go, but like every trip, it does have an ending. So, make a long story short, hope you've enjoyed this latest adventure of Michael and Paula, and hopefully we get to do another one very soon. And all the best. Yo ho ho ho! A pirate's life for me! Woo! And they say this is fun. Why? Holy crap! I'm too old for this. And here we are, concluding another trip with my better 3/4 bringing us in. And she makes backcountry canoe tripping fashionable. Give me a smile, love.
This is my better side.
Thank you for a great trip, honey.